Welcome back to another episode of We Don't Know What to Watch, the podcast where two guys watch random movies and talk about them. And with me, as always, is the amazing, incredible, the David Bowie to my Ziggy Stardust, Kyle Mulford, and I'm Noah Saturn. And if you're with us, this is one of our mini episodes called What You Watchin', where we talk about what we've been watching.
Got nothing other than a giant package that I show off in Labyrinth.
Yep, you're a real star man.
I'm a star man. I'm a star man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing good. How are you?
Other than being in the Bowie mood musically, I've been fine.
Well, I
Started a
mean,
new
that's
job.
fine too,
It's
though,
exciting.
because Bowie is one of my favorite musicians. So
Yep. Any day is a good day for Bowie.
exactly. So, what you been watching lately?
Well, I watched 2 whole movies this week, so a lot for me because I've just been busy changing jobs and such, so getting used to different things. So, yeah, a lot
Awesome.
happening personally, but yeah, everything's good so far. So, they just happen to be by the same director, so I'll probably start a marathon of this person's films. First one is Mean Streets by our good friend Uncle Marty.
Going on a Marty kick, huh?
Yeah, a Marty marathon.
This is one of the few that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a couple of his earlier ones, Boxcar Bertha and this one.
I think those two are on HBO Max, at least last I checked. So
Okay.
yeah, Mean Streets, starring Harvey Keitel, baby Harvey Keitel, and baby Robert De Niro.
Wait, what year was this? Does Harvey
19
Keitel show his penis?
No, he has no nudity in this one, which I, for one, am as disappointed as you. At least we still have the piano.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, 1972, very early for them. So yeah, it's almost as if these actors have been good for a very long time.
Right? And it's
And
almost as if that's why they still have a career, because they were so good.
mhm, and that they're still picking interesting roles, or if you're Robert De Niro, at least you're still having fun with this. You just started doing a bunch of comedies.
I was going to say, I don't know about interesting roles when it comes to De Niro nowadays. Some of
Are you
his,
saying Dirty Grandpa is not great?
that one I did not see, but I've seen some of his other ones. What was that? Grudge Match? Oh boy. Oof.
Hey, I genuinely liked him in The Intern, where he was with Anne Hathaway. They had a really great relationship and great chemistry between the two of them.
Okay. I
Not
can't remember if I
romantic
saw that one
chemistry,
or
but
not.
they worked well together.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, so Mean Streets, it's about a man who's kind of half in the gangster world, half not, trying to take care of his buddy who's always kind of like one step too deep. You could almost compare it to Rounders in the sense that he's kind of the good guy who still has a bit of a life outside of the gangster lifestyle. And then, of course, there's his buddy, played by Robert De Niro, who's always like one step wrong, one step too far in the wrong direction, one step just getting worse and worse into some gangsters'
One step
pockets.
beyond.
You might say that. But yeah, has an ambiguous ending, and you can definitely see why this Scorsese fellow stuck around. Yeah, it's a good movie, pretty loose, not as tightly plotted as some of his later work, but I think some of that is, of course, you're a young filmmaker and you're working on a very small budget.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure he showed a lot of promise there.
Mm-hmm. I think he did okay.
I'm not too worried about him.
Yeah, I think he's fine. So anyway, the next movie I watched was Casino. So I guess it's, the second in his Mafia True Story trilogy. If you count this,
But,
The Irishman, all with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci.
oh yeah.
I don't know if he made any other True Story films. Probably somewhere.
Well,
Didn't he do one about the Doors?
that wasn't him, was it?
I don't know. I know he's done some documentaries too. So
He did Hugo, which was based off of like a real person.
George Millay, yeah, historical
George
fiction.
Millay. It was a fiction, but like, kind of like inspired by his work and all that stuff. So I know that's not technically a true story, but like, obviously it's fantastical, but a lot of elements of his work.
We got excess. We got gambling. I could probably just watch like 5 hours of De Niro and Joe Pesci just narrating whatever scam is they're just pulling off or whatever. I love the sequences of the whole skimming operation and just like, I could watch this forever. They're so well put together and they're fun. And then some of it, how much you can never know how much of it is true, how much of it is not true. But from what I understand, it is mostly true. They changed some of the character names, and then a lot of the gangsters were from Chicago. but they never say the word Chicago. They always say from back home, knowing they're from Chicago. It's weird.
Huh.
Could be a
I wonder
legal
why that
thing.
is. Yeah.
But yeah, Old Vegas was cool, well acted, and if you get a chance, watch the TV edit. Find some clips from the TV edit. That's pretty funny.
did
They
they
change
did
some of
they
this.
insert weird words for the swearing?
Yeah, it's like freak you, Sam Rothstein, freak you.
I love TV edits.
Yeah, that's so good. Do you see what happens, Larry, when you find a stranger in the Alps? That's probably my
Uh,
favorite is from Big Lebowski. Anyway, what about you? That's all I've watched. Just a couple of Marty duology.
I watched a few movies. We'll start off with I rented a DVD from the library because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Dear Evan Hansen, and I watched this with the whole family. And this is it's a musical about a guy who he's assigned by his therapist to he's got social problems and can't make friends and is socially awkward and those kind of issues. But he's assigned by his therapist to write letters to himself, and it's addressed Dear Evan Hansen. That's his name. And then it says, today's going to be a good day, and this is why, blah, blah, blah. Well, he wrote a letter that some other kid gets a hold of and sticks in his pocket, taking it from him, whatever. And then that kid ends up killing himself, and they find the letter on him, and they think that, and this kid who killed himself
His
didn't,
name is Connor, right?
yes, Connor, he didn't have any friends, so they thought that Evan Hansen was his friend because he was writing this letter to him. And so
Yeah, and
then,
also it doesn't say from Connor Murphy. It says sincerely me.
yes, yeah, sincerely me. Um, and then the parents come to Evan and they're like, "Oh, you were his only friend. Tell us about him because we couldn't reach out to him and all this stuff and blah blah blah." And you kind of understand how he gets caught up in the lie, but like this movie really is hard to watch because it's like, "Oh my god, stop avalanching this lie. Like nothing good can come from this." Ultimately, I ended up liking the movie, but it was a hard watch. My oldest child, Lizzie, she has anxiety, and they had to watch, or they had to leave the room and couldn't finish the movie
Yeah, it's
because,
definitely a tough sit. And when you're talking about a subject matter as sensitive as that, you have to be very, very careful. And I've heard there's some debate on whether or not this is careful enough with such a heavy subject matter.
yeah, because I think that the lie that gets snowballed, just going and going and going, it's hard to accept that like that's a good idea. And I don't know. I ultimately, like I said, ended up enjoying the movie, and the music was good, and it ultimately had a good message. Might not have gone about it the best way, but it was overall a decent movie.
And what'd you think of Ben Platt as a 27-year-old playing a high schooler?
Actually, it was fine. I,
Yeah,
I
I know
mean,
some people were just like horrified and repelled by it, just by the
I
kind of his clothing and what he was wearing. But if it
I
worked for you,
grew up
that's fine.
I grew up with Beverly Hills 90210 with 30-year-olds playing high schoolers. So that kind of casting doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, it reminds me of like those 1950s high school movies that they'd riff on Mystery Science Theater 3000, where everyone looked like they were in their 40s, parent or teacher.
Yeah. So I don't know. Those things don't bother, especially if they he's a younger looking 27-year-old. So it didn't bother me. I
Hmm.
didn't realize he was that old, honestly. So but I do agree that you should get the right age playing that, but whatever, it didn't phase me. Anyway, next on Netflix, I watched The Debt Collector 2, aka Debt Collectors.
Oh,
because
this time there's more than one.
well, I mean technically it was two of them in the first movie. So
Oh,
this is the sequel to the Scott Adkins movie I talked about last week, and it's basically more of the same, which is awesome. So I, I'm just going to say, if you like Scott Adkins, check out The Debt Collector and The Debt Collector 2, both on Netflix.
all right. Will we complete the trilogy?
I don't know, but I'd watch another one. And this one was from 2020, so who
Okay, hey,
knows?
so it could happen. It's maybe in production right now.
The ending of Debt Collector, actually, the ending of the Debt Collector, you're going, there's a Debt Collector 2. How is that even possible? And what's fun is that like one of them is shot and left for dead in the end of the first one. And sorry, spoiler, but you're not watching for the spoilers at the end. You're just watching because it's a fun movie. Um, and so in the next movie, they basically just write it off as, "Oh yeah, I was really lucky that this didn't kill me.
Yes, the classic. I got better.
I got better." uh, no, but the end of number 2 left it open for another sequel. So here's crossing our fingers. Here's hoping. Then on HBO Max, I watched the 2010 film Easy A.
I remember watching this one probably on DVD when it first came out.
I did as well. That's the last time I watched it, and I was just flipping through one night, and I was like, I don't know what to watch, and I was on HBO Max. I'm like, hey, I haven't watched that in a long time, so I strive to be the kind of dad in real life that Stanley Tucci is in this movie.
I know, right? The parents in that movie are so good.
Him and Patricia Clarkson, I think. Yeah, that's who it was. This is a movie about a girl in high school who there's a rumor started about her because it kind of gets started by her because she's telling her friend, yeah, I had sex with this boy from somewhere else and you don't know him and blah, blah, blah.
My
And
boyfriend
then,
in Canada.
yeah, it's always a friend in Canada. Those Canadians, they're promiscuous.
I tells you.
Those imaginary Canadians.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, and so then someone over the Bible thumper of the school overhears her in the bathroom and starts the whole, tells the whole school basically, and then she gets this, reputation as a slut because if a girl has sex with one person, they're a slut.
Yep, that's
You
how it
know,
works.
so and that's basically what the whole movie is about is how I mean women get shamed for like that kind of stuff, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
Uh,
also combined with, and then there's like whatever the subplot where they're all reading over the course of the semester, they're reading Scarlet Letter. So then
yes,
she even sews like a red A onto her shirt or something.
yeah, exactly, and she just kind of embraces it, and then she starts ending up taking money from guys to let them say that they had sex with her and everything, and then it gets out of control, and she has to fix it, but it's ultimately about why do we shame these people that what's wrong with that. However, I mean, I'm not condoning high schoolers having sex in the first place, but we know what happens. And
Mm-hmm.
why do boys get to be the cool guy because they scored with a bunch of chicks, but then the girl is a slut because she slept with one person?
Yeah,
It's
one of my favorite moments from this is like when she's like pretending to have sex with like the gay guy who wants to get people off of his back.
oh yeah.
And then like she like gives him a runner. I was like, ah! I was like, what do you think? It's like a gnome down there or something?
I like when he walks out of the room and uh and they're like, "Oh yeah, way to go, guy!" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be walking funny tomorrow." They're like, "What?" I mean, yeah, I had sex. No, it's a really funny movie, and it's got a lot to say, and it's says it well, and it's still funny. And like I said, Stanley Tucci and Patricia Clarkson, best parents in a movie ever.
Agreed. I mean, I would just follow that. I mean, I'd follow Stanley Tucci everywhere. If you get a chance, check out his series that he did for CNN called like Searching for Italy. Just like a Stanley Tucci traveling food show. He's so good.
That's amazing. Anyway, high recommend, and that's on HBO Max. Check it out if you haven't seen it recently. Um, and then on Vudu, I watched a 2019 documentary from Ron Howard called Pavarotti.
It's
And can you
about
guess what this is about?
Pavarotti. Italian Sopranos.
Yes, it's about well, it's about Pavarotti, Luciano Pavarotti. This is basically just a documentary of his life and how he got into his singing and his career. It kind of goes through most of his career, and it's an interesting look at this guy who's just an amazing voice. And it basically was, you know, he was a really. It seems like he was a really good guy. Like just everybody liked him wherever he went. and he was nice to everybody. The only thing that they really go into where anything bad about him is that I think he had a couple of affairs. He ended up getting a divorce, and then his kids actually kind of didn't talk to him for a while because of that. So I mean, he did mess up his marriage a little, but overall I think with everyone else he was just a super great guy. And it was interesting just kind of taking a look at his life and his career arc. And I didn't realize that the whole three tenors thing happened in the 90s because I remember it, but like I was like, I thought it happened earlier than that
Mhm.
when he got together with Placido Domingo and I can't think of
The third
third
one.
the third tenor. Uh shoot. I feel bad I can't think of that one. But anyway, just an interesting look, and it's a documentary directed by Ron Howard, so it's good. I would recommend it if you're interested in Pavarotti at all. Then on Amazon Prime, I watched a 2020 film called Joe Bell. This is Mark Wahlberg trying to do a serious role.
Does it
It,
work?
you know, I think he did a good job, but the thing is, this is about a guy who has a gay son, and then something happens, and the father decides to walk from. I think they're somewhere over on the West Coast. He was going to walk from there to New York City, where his son wanted to live, and and I am going to spoil this because it's telegraphed a mile away, even though it's supposed to be like you can tell in the first 5 minutes.
It's supposed to be like a true story, right?
Yeah, it is. The son killed himself. And it's like when he goes on this journey, you don't know what actually happened. And he goes on this journey and the kid is walking with him going, "Oh, the kid killed himself. This is him just talking
It's just a
to."
memory, it's a ghost, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and there's this big reveal in the middle of the movie where he's uh at um a drag show or whatever, and someone comes over and says, "Oh, bring your son along. He sounds great." And he's like, "I can't. He's dead." And it's supposed to be. I think it's like a needle drop moment where it's like, "Oh my gosh, he's not been
Mhm.
talking to his real son." I'm going, dude. I mean, I didn't even know this story, and I could tell from a mile away that that's what happened. Um, the problem I had with this movie was Mark Wahlberg did a really good job, but I was like, the dad never stopped being kind of a bigot, even though he was doing this walk for his son. It like he still seemed like someone who just still didn't get it. And even after his son was dead, he's portrayed as almost like still not getting why he's wrong about things because he kept telling his son to hide it and don't do your cheers in the front yard, don't do this, don't do that, don't bring attention to yourself, and tried to like squash his kids personality and everything so that he wouldn't get picked on instead of defending his kid. And I guess like I didn't feel like the guy ever learned his lesson or changed or anything. He goes on this walk, which is supposed to be like a redemption walk. But I'm like, but you still don't seem like you're changing, even though you're doing this walk. So I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about the movie.
Hmm.
So, a good performance by Mark Wahlberg. I'll give him that. So, but I don't know if I really recommend the movie. Then on Tubi TV, I watched a 1994 film called Surviving the Game. This is
And what's the game, like checkers?
uh no, it's the uh what is it? What is it? The when they hunt another person, what do they call that? What was that?
The most dangerous
The
game?
most dangerous game. It's the most dangerous game. This is about Ice-T is a homeless man, and there's a bunch of rich white guys that find out that he's homeless and he doesn't have any family or anything like that, and they're like, "Oh, can we hire you? We'll pay you lots of money to hire you as our survival guide out and when we go on a hunting trip." And so he goes to a cabin with them, and it's Rutger Hauer, Charles S. Dutton, John C. McGinley, Gary
Nice.
Busey, Gary Busey.
They got all the stars.
They do- Oh well, this cast is the reason I watched this movie. I'm like, I can't pass this up.
Is this Busey? Does he go full Busey?
He's pretty Busey in this, yeah. This is
Yeah.
this is from 1994, so
He's not gone. It's not Ginger Dead Man level of Busey, but it's close.
no, but it's as good. It's John C. McGinley is actually kind of like the crazy one in this one. But yeah, they get up there and then he finds out, oh my God, they're gonna hunt me. And so he runs out in the woods and then he gets hunted down by them, but like he starts picking them off one by one. He survives the game.
Does it turn out he's like secretly like a veteran or something? Or
No,
oh, he's just a
just
guy.
he's just a guy, just a homeless dude. Fun movie. If that cast sounds interesting to you, check this one out. Don't expect an Oscar winning movie though.
And I assume later he decides to join the police academy and be an SVU.
Yes,
Yep.
but he had to cut off. He had some like huge ass dreadlocks on his head in this movie. Like,
Okay, nice. So he got a haircut.
yes, he got a haircut and then joined the.
Hmm.
What was it? Was it SVU he was in?
Yeah, he's still in. It's still
Still
growing.
in. Okay. I love iced tea.
Hmm.
And not just the drink.
Ha cha cha.
Uh, and then on Amazon Prime, I watched the 2017 film Psych, the movie. I finally got
Starring the
through
same cast.
all the same cast. I finally got through all of Psych seasons 1 through 8, and I watched the first movie. There are 2 more movies, I think. This one is it's basically an hour and a half episode. So if you like the show, watch this movie. If you've never watched the show, go watch the show first because you kind of like have to just know the characters watching this movie.
Hmm.
I think you could watch it on its own, but it would make more. You would just feel more comfortable having known the characters a little better from the show. So it really is one of those where it's like this movie's kind of for the fans.
Yep, and that's okay.
Yeah, oh, it's totally okay because I was like, oh, I'm done with the seasons. Oh, there's 3 movies, so I'm a fan. So if you are a fan of the Psych TV show, watch Psych the movie.
Nice.
Then I rented another DVD from the library, and I rented The Dry from 2020. This is a little Australian film with Eric Bana,
Nice.
and he plays a detective or something that he goes back to his hometown because of an old friend's funeral. It's deemed that the friend actually killed his wife and kid and then killed himself. Well, and then he goes back for the funeral, and then you find out there's like a history with Eric Bana that he was kind of driven out of the town because he was accused, like he was thought to have murdered a girl when he was younger, and so him and his father were driven out of town, and he never came back, and now he's back, and then he tries to figure out what's if his
Solve a
friend actually
murder.
see if his friend actually killed himself and his family or if someone else did this, and he has to do that while dealing with a town who hates him because of what they think he did in the past. And it's actually kind of a cool little mystery thriller. It does get a little long. It is a little over 2 hours, and it gets a little bit long, but it's not terribly so because I think Eric Bana is really good in this, and
Nice.
it's an interesting story, and I would actually recommend this one.
Awesome.
And then finally, I watched. I've got Blu-ray of 1985's Back to the Future. Gotta get
Nice.
back in time. We watched this with the kids, family movie night, and
Had the
they
kids seen
enjoyed
it
it.
before?
Uh, I think we might have showed it to them a while ago, but they were pretty young, so I don't think they remembered it at all.
Yeah, so I'll probably
Um,
remember it more this time around.
Yeah, because they're 10 and 12 now, so that's a good age to watch this movie. So I
Hmm.
think I think my next couple of movie night picks are going to be Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Makes sense to me.
Everyone knows this movie. My kids enjoyed it. Like I've got a 10 and 12-year-old. They both enjoyed this movie because it's a perfect movie. And I will say though that Lizzie, who I talked earlier about having anxiety, at the end when uh, everything's going wrong, and then the cord gets pulled out, and Doc has to go up to the clock tower, and he puts it in, and then it falls out at
Car
the
won't
bottom,
start.
and the car won't start, and Lizzie's sitting there like. She's actually like on her tablet because she's like needs a distraction because like
It's
she's
just too
getting so
much. Yeah.
anxious. Yeah, she's getting too anxious.
It's
Well,
such a good finale.
yeah, it is. And I mean, great tension building there. And we, actually she was getting tense with some other scenes in the movie just because she gets anxious watching movies
Yeah, I mean, some
sometimes.
people, yes, like when you suffer from like secondhand anxiety, sometimes it's too much. Like that's the reason I can't
Yeah.
really watch The Office.
Oh yeah.
It's just
But
it was like, ew.
but when we got into the finale, I actually turned over to them and said, Lizzie, this is going to get very tense because things are going to go wrong, but I promise everything works out in the end.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I think both kids enjoyed it though, and I mean it's Back to the Future, so I might have had to disown my kids if they didn't like it,
Very
right?
true. That's the rule.
So anyway, that's what I've been watching. What's coming up on the agenda for you?
I'll probably keep on my Marty marathon and hopefully watch some more of those.
Awesome.
And then who knows what else? I still got a bunch of Criterion Blu-rays that I haven't that are still in shrink.
I watched a Marty movie. I watched Marty McFly.
That's okay. A Marty Scorsese movie. Marty with thick eyebrows.
Oh, that Marty. Okay.
Hmm.
I actually rented Don't Breathe 2 from the library.
Don't Breathe 2, Exhale.
Yes.
That's what they should have called it.
Don't breathe, waiting to exhale.
Yes.
No, I'm excited for that one because I love Stephen Lang, and the first Don't Breathe was amazing.
Hmm.
And then I also rented another sequel. I rented the new Candyman.
I think you're gonna really like that one. That one was really good.
Yeah, I'm excited for both of those. So that's what's coming up next for me.
Hmm.
But in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at AwesomeKM.
And I'm at Noah_Saturn. That is spelled Satern.
And we're on Instagram at We Don't Know What to Watch. And you can email us, we don't know what to watch at gmail.com. Comment, like, subscribe, whatever. Do it all. And until next time,
Until next
that's the
time,
power of love.
Candyman, Candyman,
Candyman.
Candyman.
Candyman.